Hello my quilting friends, this is Kathy from the Delafield Quilt Company. If you're slowing along with the Slow Summer Stars series, this is block number 11 of this series. This one is really easy to make because we're going to use the 2 at a time half rectangle triangles. And don't be intimidated by those because I've got a free template for you to download from our website to help make these blocks 2 at a time and cut them accurately. Can't wait to show you how to make this. Here's the fabric that I've chosen for this block. I've got this nice teal color and the yellow color, which I think will look really nice. I've also got my background fabric, which I've already cut. And the cutting requirements for this block are from fabric A, we're going to need 2 6-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles. We're going to need 2 2.5-inch squares, and then the same from fabric B, 2 6-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles and 2 2.5-inch squares. From the background fabric, we're going to need 4 4.5-inch squares and 4 6-inch by 3.5-inch rectangles. And to make this really easy, make sure you download that template I've got on our website, and then you're just going to want to cut the pieces out, and I've already got my pieces cut here. Since fabrics A and B need the exact same cuts, I'm just going to layer them together and cut them at the same time. All right, I'm going to cut my 6 by 3.5-inch rectangles first, and I'm just going to cut a big 7-inch by 6-inch rectangle and then cut it in half, and then I should have the pieces that I need. And I am cutting a little bit bigger because I like to cut that fringe off from the layer cake. And then I'm just going to cut that in half at 3.5 inches. And then I have my 2 3.5-inch by 6-inch rectangles from A and B. All right, then I need 2 2.5-inch squares from each of these. And I'll just save this for something else. And I did already cut my background fabric, so the 4 4.5-inch squares and 4 3.5 by 6-inch rectangles. All right, so this is going to go real fast because we're using the 2 at a time half rectangle triangle method. And the first thing we need to do is we need to draw a line diagonally from one bottom to the next corner. And we're going to do 2 of these rectangles from the bottom left to upper right, and then the other 2 are going to be bottom right to upper left. And I'm just going to use a pencil because you're not going to see this because I'm going to actually cut on that line down the road. So I've got these 2 from left to right, and then I'm going to do the last 2 from bottom right to top left. All right, the next step is to bring our fabric B and A. We're going to actually do 1 each from the bottom left to upper right for each of these, and then the other 2 the opposite, the bottom right to upper left. I'm going to take my first one, and to do this, you've got to turn it special because if you just sewed this like you would a half square triangle, it is not going to look right when you're done. So we need to turn this so that the top of the line is on this corner here on the upper left and the bottom one is on the bottom right. And I'm just going to put a pin to keep this in place. And I'm going to repeat that on the other one here. And same thing but opposite direction for these other 2. So bottom left to upper right hand corner, just matching these lines. And the last one here, same thing. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to sew a 1/4-inch seam along both sides of each of these lines. Okay, so I'm at my sewing machine, and now I'm just going to make sure that I'm a 1/4 inch from the line, and I'm using my 1/4 inch foot to help guide me. Then I'm just going to cut it, turn it right away, and just finish this one. Then I'll move on to the next. Then I'm just going to repeat that for the other 3. Okay, so I've got these all sewn. I did a 1/4 inch on both sides of the pencil line for each of these pieces. And now I need to cut them on the pencil line. So you can use your rotary cutter or a regular scissors. I'm just going to use my rotary cutter. And I'm going to keep the ones that are going the same direction together just because they need the same template. I'll just make it a little more efficient for myself. Okay, now I need to press these, and I'm going to press them actually towards the print fabric or the darker fabric. Okay, now that I've got them pressed, I'm going to bring in my templates, and I'm going to trim these up. Now, if you don't want to print out the templates, maybe you don't have any paper or a printer, I'll show you how to do it without that, which is, I find it a little bit easier and quicker just to use a template. So for the template, if you're using that, we're going to make sure we're getting the right diagonal direction on these. And we're going to line this up so that the line on the template matches the line of the seam allowance. So now these templates are going to be 2.5 by 4.5 inches. Really important when you print these out that you use 100% output. Otherwise it's going to be a little bit different. And I've been using these a few times, so mine I've actually trimmed a little too much, but I know that they need to be 2.5 by 4.5 inches. So I've got it lined up. I'm going to trim off 1/4. And now since we have a clean edge, you really don't need the template again, but you could still use it if you feel better doing so. But I know this needs to be 2.5 by 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to use my square edge that I just cut as my guide. And then cut the other two sides. So if you don't want to print the template, that's totally fine too. You just have to do a little bit of marking on your ruler. So we know it needs to be 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So you're going to find the 2.5 inch mark on your ruler, and then you're going to come in 1/4 up and 1/4 over 1/4 inch, put a little dot, and then for the 4.5 inch mark, go over 1/4 and up 1/4. These are a little hard to see, but basically you want to line up your seam allowance on those 2 points so the diagonal crosses both of them. And then you just trim off to the sides there. And again, when you do the 2.5 by 4.5, just make sure that the green dots that I drew earlier are lining up on that seam allowance. And then you should be good to go on your half rectangle triangles. And I'm going to just repeat that process for the rest of these. Just make sure that when you switch to the other diagonal direction that you just use the other template as well. All right, so I've got all of my friends here nice and trimmed up to the right size, 2.5 by 4.5 inches. And now let me show you how we're going to assemble this. I'm going to bring in the test black I did just to demonstrate what we're going to do. So we're going to put our half rectangle triangles as the points. And then we're going to put the 2.5 inch squares in the center here to make it kind of look like they all belong together. All right, to do that first, I'm going to grab 2 opposite direction half rectangle triangles of the same print, and I'm going to put the 4.5 inch square here in the corner. And I'm going to put the same print 2.5 inch square to connect all of this. And then opposite of this, we're going to put another square, same pattern, and then get our 4.5 inch square there in the corner. And then we're going to do this teal color. Same thing, just opposite. Then we're going to finish it off with our 4.5 inch background fabric squares. So that's essentially what this is going to look like. Pretty easy. So I'm going to just sew this in rows. And I'm going to, when I press the seams, I'm just going to make sure that each row is going opposite direction of the row next to it, just so they nest nicely. And this is what the finished block number 11 looks like. Let's take a look at the blocks we've done so far in the series. All right, we have block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, block 5, block 6, block 7, still my favorite, block 8, block 9, block 10, and today's block, Black 11. I hope that you liked this video. If you haven't yet, please visit us at delafieldquiltco.com and have a great day.